ilk konuşmamız amacımız Ohio Eyalet Üniversitesi'nde Weidong LI. Kendisi İnsan Bilimleri bölümünde öğretim üyesi olarak çalışıyor Ohio Eyalet Üniversitesi'nde. Louisiana Eyalet Üniversitesi'nden 2003 yılında deneysel istatistik alanında yüksek lisansı, 2004 yılında ise spor pedagojisi alanında doktorası var hocamızın. Araştırma odağı öğrenci motivasyonu, yaşam tarzı müdahaleleri ve bunların öğrencilerin sağlığı ve bilişsel akademik başarısı üzerine. Birçok saygın dergide yayınlanmış makalesi ve kongrelerde sunulmuş bildirisi var. 2 tane de önemli ödülü var, onu vurgulamalıyım. Bunlardan biri Genç Akademisyen Ödülü Amerika'da, bir diğeri de eski ismiyle APERT, iki ismiyle Shape America'nın onur ödülü. Bunlar gerçekten saygın ödüller. Weidong LI'de sunumu oyun senaryolarıyla durumsal öğretim modeli konusunda çok da güncel bir konu. Kendisini sunumunu yapmak üzere podyuma davet ediyorum, kürsüye davet ediyorum. It's your turn. Please.
Thank you. Well, as I walk to the podium, would you please stand up? In the United States, we call physical activity break. So you can walk to left side, 5 step, and come back to your seat. Oh, can you translate? So walk to left side, 5 step, and come back.
Okay, so the steps are made. Yes, of course. An active break.
All right. If you all can sit down, please. Well, it's probably a long day for you all, right? All right. So my name is Weidong LI. I came from, people say, the Ohio State University in the United States. So I want to show my appreciation to, let me see over here, make sure I can manage. Thanks for the invitation from Dr. Fatih Devant and also Reshap. I still have difficulty with Turkish language. So Goguli. And also I want to recognize my friends and also collaborators, Dr. Oyun and also Dr. Fatih. We had a wonderful time when they come to OSU. We play basketball, we do a lot of stuff. All right, so, and also I want to appreciate all the work, the volunteers, and also everybody here. I know it's been a long day. You've been sit here for hours. It's my honor to be here. I really enjoy the culture here. I see a lot of similarities between Turkish culture and also Chinese culture. I came from China originally, being in the United States for 25 years. This is where I currently live right now in Ohio, United States. This is our campus. This is the main library. And also the lake. If you know the lake, we call Mirror Lake. But there's a culture. Michigan, University of Michigan, Ohio State, pretty much go against each other. Right? So in winter time, because not nowadays, in the past, pretty much very cold, students jump into the lake before the game. One day, maybe Thursday night, before Saturday game against University of Michigan. So go Bucks. And this is our football stadium. Yeah, it's a big one. So hopefully one day you can come to visit us. I will take you, go inside and take a look at. So today's topic, I'm going to talk about the situated game teaching through set plays. My PhD students and also I developed that model. It took me 15 years to finally propose the model, and also we conducted research to provide evidence to show the effectiveness of that model. As we all know, sports and games are very critical components of K through 12 curriculum. We teach a variety of sports in K through 12 physical education. And also we know the benefits that our student will gain from playing sports and games, right? Psychosocial, developing social skills, increase confidence, and also physical health, right? Become physically fit and also be well. And of course, there are also cognitive benefits. When students are physically active, their brain functions well. That's the reason we're doing physical activity breaks. The reason I ask you to walk 5 steps and come back, give your brain a little break, refresh yourself. So there are a lot of benefits students gain. Of course, a lot of life skills, self-challenge, right? And competition, being competitive, fair play, all those benefits students gain from playing sport. As we all know, traditionally, we use a techniques-focused approach to teach sports and games in physical education. Mainly, we use isolated drills, right, skill practice to help students develop skills, techniques, and then we finish with a full-sided games. Well, what's wrong with that approach? There are a lot of issues. Students cannot transfer what they learn into real game situation, right? So that's the problem for traditional approach. Well, to address those limitations, a lot of researchers since 1980s developed different ways to teach sport and games. That's what we call game-centered approaches. A couple examples over here, TGFU. Some of you probably heard that term, right? Teaching games for understanding. There's another one from Australia, play practice. Some of you probably heard before. Game sense from Europe. And the last one is the one we developed in 2018, situated game teaching through set plays. So today I'm going to mainly introduce this model, but also I'm going to like you to see the previous game-centered approaches, and we can compare and see the benefits of using this approach. So this is the 2 books that if you want to look at, one is practice and the other one is teaching games for understanding. So I'm going to play a video. All right, so when you watch this video, I want you to think about what do you like and what you don't like. Maybe anything that you want to improve. This is a game-centered approach, pretty much summary what play practice, TGFU, and also game sense does when you use that approach to teach games and sports.
Done for the next 2 sessions. We're going to combine them. We've got both coaches Mike McKay and Coach Kirby Shep are going to tag team this and go through the next 2 hours right till noon. A variety of topics here. What they're speaking on is a games approach to teaching skills. And both Mike and Kirby are going to go through this right till noon. Mike is responsible for the organization and implementation of the move of our new SCCP system for over the past 14 years. Coach Shep has physically.
I'm going to skip a little bit.
That's mentally, that's fitness-wise, that's basketball skill-wise, and that's social-emotionally. Our job is to develop the whole child in all things we do as a team. So if you're doing the same thing in October and then the same thing in March, I don't think that you've developed them. It's developing them, getting them better. Second thing we have to do is get all those individuals to work together somehow. And that, to me, is the beauty of team sport.
Find a way for them now to apply those skills with other people, to produce something that's greater than they could ever do by themselves. And there's a lot of art to that. And then the final thing we have to do is build dreams. That's a big part of our job as coaches, is building dreams of young people. I'm not all about finding the next Steve Nash to play in our national team. That happens. That will happen. If we do those three things right, that will happen. But I think if we go in with the idea that this is just about my team at grade 12s, or my 12-year-old team is just to find that one Steve Nash, and that's all I'm focused on, or all I'm focused on is winning my league, I think we lose so many kids. And if you know anything about obesity rates and things like that in our country, we have to do something through team sport especially, I think, to keep kids active. This is not about excluding people, but about including people. So my topic today is games approach. Well, what does a games approach mean? This is not just about having fun with a whole bunch of bright colored objects, and there's still going to be a lot of teaching through playing games. It's not that you do this totally, it's a mixture. And I'm going to start with some for the really young kids, and we'd call that our learn to train stage or fundamental stage, so those 5 to 7, 8-year-olds, and then those 9 to 10, but I'll be honest, we've used with our junior national team kids. And they love them just as much as the little ones. They probably love them more because they're so used to doing the old drill. So it's that blending that we're going to do. The other thing I want you to get out of this is how you load things. And anybody's ever seen me talk before, to me, loading is the art of coaching. It's where skill equals challenge. I'm going to show these kids today some skills where that's pretty easy. If I stay with that, they'll get bored. It's too easy. I'm also going to show them a couple where the skill is much, or the challenge, sorry, is bigger than the skill. They're going to get frustrated if I stay with it too long. So great coaching is matching skill to challenge. And then I just got to load the challenge to bring up the skill. Load the challenge. And we can do that through a games approach. The other thing I warn us about games approach is I still have to do error detection and correction. If I'm going to make them improve, I must still do error detection and correction when they're playing in these little games. Sometimes I can correct it by changing a rule of the game, changing the size of the court, changing the boundary, changing things they do. But sometimes I may have to stop the game, go work on a skill, and then come back to the game. But they'll be much more excited to work on that skill because they now see how it applies. So I'm going to try to show you rather than tell you, because I've learned better by seeing and doing things. Okay, so we need our athletes up. We got our 2 teams. Okay, everybody out, and we're going to use the volleyball court. And I'm going to use my brightly colored ball. I love this ball for little kids. First of all, it's 25% lighter than a real ball. So when you're dealing with a kid 7 years old, they can actually lift the ball a little bit easier, and they're not afraid to catch much either because it's really light. And the other one, they love the colors. Okay? So little kids, these are important. Okay, we got our 2 teams. Our boundary line is the white volleyball court, and with little kids, we'd actually probably walk the line to learn the boundary. That's important with little kids. Here's the rules, real simple. You must complete 10 passes in a row between your team without a fumble or a travel or going out of bounds. If the ball gets knocked down, the other team takes it, starts passing right away. Game's on. Wow. And stop. How many passes is that, Black? 5 or 4? Well, I don't know. How many is it? Okay, so what's one of the biggest problems we have with getting kids in games is to talk. Okay, so I'm going to now load in a rule that's going to make them talk. Instead of me saying, you got to talk, you got to talk, you got to talk, and I get frustrated, I'm going to say, here's the rule. When you receive a pass, so make your pass to AJ. If AJ doesn't say, run, it's a violation. Make your pass. And she must use a leadership voice. Okay? Okay. Because one of the things I found, if you just let the loudest athlete talk, you can go your whole career as a quiet person and never say a word. Because the loud person does all the counting, I'm allowed to stay quiet. You need to find ways that everybody has to know when they have to use their leadership voice. So this is the next one. We'll load in the talking. Okay, so we're going to start at 0. Black ball, play.
All right. That's interesting, huh? All right. So this is what typically play practice and also TGFU game sense, the way they do it. So play games, right? It's pretty fun game, right? Student enjoy it and also pretty makes student physically active. They also increase the difficulties. From the video you saw, you have to set 1 or 2 like leadership voices to emphasize communication during the game, right? Of course, they're adding more loadings, like increasing the difficulties. They put party spot. You have to, when you catch the ball with the color, you have to match the party spot, and so on and so forth. But what's the problem with that approach? Any teachers, anybody here? Yes.
There's no goal.
There's no goal, right? In real game situation, I don't know whether you watch American movie, Waterboy. Has anyone watched that movie, Waterboy? Run the direction, right? They play football, supposed to run in that direction to make a touchdown. He ran the opposite direction. So without a goal, students don't know which direction to dribble, which direction to move, right? So it's still not really teaching about what student will do in real game situation. And also, in real game, you don't have to dribble 10 times before you pass the ball. Sometimes you don't dribble, you just pass the ball to make a goal, right? So still not really relevant to real game situation. And the other one is, well, in real game situation, we make a lot of decisions. How do we make those decisions? Well, we make decisions depends on where teammates are, how they're going to move, and also what about the defense, right? How defense is going to move, and what position they are. And also, do I have advantage against my defense? So there's so much information that we experience during real game that we have to digest and we have to make a decision in seconds. So that is missing from those game-set approaches. All right, so I'm going to play another video and let you to see my points here.
National team, and today we're working on the outside of the foot pass. If you're not feeling so good with your non-dominant foot on a certain day, this is a great option to be able to use the outside of your foot. In this situation, I'm looking to play the ball to Carly, who's on my team. These players right here are defenders. And what I'm going to try to do is hit it with the outside of my right foot. A lot of times it's giving you a bent ball. So if the defender is right here, I have the ball to Carly, I'm going to hit it with the outside of my foot. As you can see, it has that bend. It allows me to hit it away from this defender also and right into Carly's feet, who is usually a forward. So I receive the ball, the defender's right here, and I try to play it into Carly.
So I'm going to stop here. What difference you see from this video as compared to the previous one? Anyone? Can you speak louder?
I'm just thinking, sorry.
Oh, sorry. This is what? This is a real game scenario, right? You know where's the defense, and also based on the defense position, where's my teammate? And now I need to pass the ball to my teammate, and also in that situation, I have to select what passing technique I'm going to use, which is outside foot passing. This is about real game situation where you need to make a decision in terms of if I'm passing the ball because I want to move the ball, right? And also based on the situation, I need to select a technique to pass that ball, Right? So let me manage over here. So this is an example of what we talk about in this model we call situated game teaching through set plays. The second video I'll show you is an example what we call situated set play. So this model including 4 different components. One is situated set play. Second one, student need to do analysis. We call relational analysis and also cue perceptions. So students look at the game scenario, identify what are those game parameters involved in that specific moment. I have 2 defenders. One is on this side. The other one is on the right side. My teammate is right here, and I need to pass the ball to her in that scenario. So then, based on the relational analysis, you make a decision what to do, and you do it, and then come to increasing your game performance. So this model is based on what we call a theoretical framework, theory of situated learning. Well, you probably will think, this theory is pretty complex. When I read that little book, right, it's very thin, it's about 100 pages. It took me forever to understand what the hell is going on here, right? So, but in reality, because the reason I developed this approach is actually coming from my teaching. I was teaching secondary school method class. We use play practice and also sport education. I don't know whether you know sport education model. When we train our teachers, our student teachers, right? So after campus training, we went to school. They teach, Catholic students in school using those 2 approaches. And after 1 year, I gotta, think about what is missing. Something is missing from those models, right? So out of those teaching experience, I got some ideas. What is missing is, well, how do we teach students make decision, right? Why are we adding those conditions that cannot be transferred into real game situation? Then I start to read the literature about this book, right? Situated learning. It's a perfect match. So what does this theory say? It says, well, student learning is situational. Well, situational, what that mean? Well, there's a context, right? So pretty much based on what situation, which means the context. And the second one is relational. Well, what is relational? Well, relational is about the context, the task that student going to learn, and also about student themselves. Well, when we play sports and games, we learn when we put ourselves into a specific moment, game scenario, think about the task, right? Think about the players, all those game parameters that we need to analyze, identify the relationships, and also how those relationships change in that specific moment, and then we make a decision, right? So that's the theory. Talk about learning is situational, specific, and also relational. There are 2 very critical terminologies. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but if you are interested to learn the theory, I'd recommend you read that book. Talk about theory of situated learning. It takes a while for me to understand, but I think it's a pretty good book to read. So we saw that soccer video already. I'm going to show you some other examples, one from soccer and also from tennis and also from basketball. If you use that approach, how do you design those set plays? Right? So this is another example. In this situation, you try to beat the defender in a 2 versus 1 situation to score a goal. So when we present this set play to students, right, students look at the scenario and they're going to talk about and try to identify what are those game parameters in that specific game moment. Well, one is, well, we have advantage as offensive players. We are in a situation 2 versus 1, right? Second one, the defender, right? Defender is pretty much a good position, right? So as the person who has the ball, I need to make a decision. I should pass the ball because my teammate is open, right? So this is a game scenario, one example for situated set play. There's another one. This is pretty much 3 versus 2. You also very often see the when you play soccer, right? In soccer game situation, and you also have one player advantage against defense. And also, you look at this game scenario, pretty much, right? When the person has the ball, need to make a decision. When defense come up to press you, have one teammate open, and you need to pass the ball to your teammate who is open, and your teammates can dribble the ball and shoot it. And of course, there are some other examples. I'm not going to go through in details. I'm going to show you basketball examples, because in your minds, you probably have a question. Well, how do you teach those techniques, right? Of course, when we develop those situated set plays, we start easy ones. But we teach those techniques by situating those techniques in a game situation. This is an example. We talk about basketball dribbling. Traditionally, in player practice or TGFU, you dribble the basketball in a space. You dribble around, sometimes even using the basketball. You just kind of a shadow, right? Dribble it. Well, when you use situated game teaching through set plays as an approach to teach basketball dribbling, we put it into a context, a game scenario. There are 2 different scenarios that you probably will encounter when you play basketball. One is when you have the basketball, there's no defender in front of you, which means you have space, right? So you advance the ball to the front court to attack without a defender. That's the moments that we use high-speed dribbling, right? High-speed dribbling to advance the ball quicker to the front court to attack. So that's the moment we present a set play we present to students. Well, when there's no defender in front of you, when you have the ball, you need to dribble the ball quickly to advance past the midline to attack using speed dribbling. So that's the moments the moments that in game. So we set it up, and you can dribble the ball using speed dribbling. So it's pretty similar to the previous, right, game approach, or maybe traditional approach. You just dribble the ball. The key component is we situate that dribbling in the game moment. Student recognize, well, there's no defender. I use speed dribbling. Right? So as student get familiar with speed dribbling, which means dribbling techniques develop a bit, well, now we want student to dribble for close control. When you can dribble, and now you want to dribble for control, which means when there's a defender, you have to use a dribble for close control. That's also in the game basketball, right? After you dribble the ball, past midline, defense going to come up to apply pressure a lot of times. So when defense come up to apply pressure, what we do as a player? Well, you dribble for close control. You protect the ball. And then after you probably need to make a decision whether you dribble around or you can pass, right? So, but you have to dribble for close control, protect the ball, right? So that's the game moment, right? We set up, well, B going to dribble, A as a student, as soon as B dribble past the midline, A going to come to apply pressure. So B using dribble for close control techniques, right? So it's pretty much a practice technique, but student understand when to use it. When to use it in a real game situation, right? Another example will be change direction. You see, we teach basketball dribbling, right? From simple, right? Just dribble high, for speed dribbling. And then we dribble for close control. Now we have to dribble by changing directions. Well, using situation set play approach, we set up in real game situation also. Why? This is the setup. So B going to dribble, A is the defense. What they do is B start to dribble, right? Speed dribble, apply pressure, using dribble for close control. Now the next step is A going to back off and B going to dribble, but the next movement is A going to step into the dribble direction. So if I'm dribble to this side, right? A going to right step into my dribble direction, force me to what? Change direction, right? So that's the real game situation. When player defense step into your dribble direction, you have to change direction, get around the defender, right? So this is pretty much what we talk about game moments, the scenarios. What student will experience in the real game, that's what we take out from the games and put into practices. Well, there's another couple other examples pretty much over here. 3-on-3 basketball. And you can see over here, player A has the ball, player B, right, is already what? Get around the defender, cut into the basket, right? So this is a very complex situation. Well, player A, if you are a really good shooter, anybody here play basketball? All right, let me ask you a question. Assume you were player A and you are a very good shooter. What would you do? You shoot it. Do you pass the ball to B, your teammate? You choose passing. Okay. What if player B has less chance to make the basket than you are? You shoot it, right? So you see the decision-making process. You teach your student to think about, to do critical thinking, right? So what should I do, right? If I'm player A, if I have a better chance to make a score, a goal, I'm not going to pass the ball. Even my message is what? Is open. But if I don't have a good skill, shooting skill, I need to pass the ball to my teammate. Well, in ABS situation, you know Steve Curry, right? He doesn't pass. Right? If he got the ball with that distance, the defense, he shoot it. And he used the Olympics game. Crazy three-point shot with two defenders. Right? So that's exactly what we talk about. We present the real scenarios and help our student to think about what should I do in that situation? Based on all those information coming into my brain, right? Of course, there's another, this is the same scenario, but you make a different decisions based on the how different people move in that game situation. This is about tennis also. I know a lot of people play tennis. We got pickleball also, right, the other day. So this is the tennis. Well, this is pretty much you will see in a tennis game. Well, as play Y, if you want to return the ball, which location you want to return? Anybody play tennis here? Yeah. If you are play Y, right? You're going to return that ball. You got A location, B, C, D location. Which location you going to return that tennis ball? B? D. All right. Make you to make that decision. You're going to return that ball to D. Far away from player X. Okay. But I assume when you make that decision, you are a pretty good tennis player. Right? Because I never play tennis. I play tennis a little, but I'm not a good tennis player. I'm pretty smart. Of course, I want to put ball into D because difficult for player X to the ball and return the ball. However, if you're going to put that ball into D location, you got to be what? Really good in tennis. For me, as a beginner, I don't want to do it because I'm going to lose a point. What I want to do is I want to put that ball into what? A or B. Luckily, I can put it into C, but most likely I'll put it A or B. But if I can put the tennis ball into A or B, I win. Why I win? Because I don't lose a point. Make sense? So that's the decision making we talk about in real game situation. You're not just making a decision about how difficult for the other player to return the ball, but also need to think about how good you are as a player, so what you can do, right? So this is very important critical thinking skill that we want to teach to our students when they play games or sports. So what are those features for this model? Well, one is we talk about units of analysis, right? So using this approach, we put everything into one unit. You have to consider the relationships among all those factors. One is the player. Second one, what is the activity, the task, and also what is the context. And when you use situated length theory, not just about the relationships among those three factors, it's about the changing relationship because everything changing during the game. So that's very important. Second one, we talk about relational. We just talk about your decision depends on how other people move and also your skill levels and other people's skill levels and also the communications, etc. And also situational and specific. So pretty much all the practice, or maybe we call drills, come out of real game situation. Well, as teachers, we can watch the games and we can take out those game scenarios and put into your lesson plans and teach to your students. It's authentic, practical, meaningful. This is very important because it's real game situation. It's very practical. What you learn can be transferred to real game situation, right? Not just for students, even for athletes. I'm teaching also 2 classes for sport coaching master degree program. We have coaches and also we have student athletes who want to become coaches in the future. So pretty much, they recognize, well, it's a situational approach, right? I took 1 semester off. I shadow so many different teams at OSU. I pretty much can see similarities among those coaching practices. They use situational approach, right? So to the approach we just talked about here. And also cognitive and problem solving. Well, students are presented with problems. This is the game situation. How do you solve that problem? What is the solution? Right? And how do you derive the solution to the problem? This is the place helps students to think through the problems and come up with solutions. And also we talk about developmentally appropriate. Why it's developmentally appropriate? I'm going to share the article that we published with Dr. Fatih. Well, we look at video games, not video games, videos, the games being videoed, recorded, right? We go through so many different videos. It could be, high school student play competitions. It could be just regional play, pick-up games. So we watch those games. We identify what techniques are appropriate for 5th graders, for 3rd graders, or 8th graders, for different grade levels. So we pretty much see consistent patterns. Some tactics only can be taught in 3rd grade. I'm talking about basketball, soccer. And certain techniques and tactics can only be taught at 4th graders. So there's a pattern, right? So based on those information, we put together set plays, which means those set plays are for 3rd grade students and for 4th grade students, right? So that's what we talk about developmentally appropriate. There are certain pedagogical steps that we go through. So when we use that approach, first we have to present the situated set play to students, right? And then students will be in groups to look at that set play and have discussions and come up with a solution. Of course, teachers provide some questions, guide students through that process, using those questions to help students to think and also develop the solutions. And then teachers are going to give instructions. Of course, can use students as demonstration to show how to do it, right, during the practice. And then students go and practice. Of course, teachers are going to give feedback. And after student practice, we do debriefing, which means help students to think through, well, you made that decision. Did it work or not? Right? There are alternatives, different solutions. If successful, why is it successful? If not successful, why is it not successful? So we help students to do reflections. As we all know, as teachers, we need to practice, we need to teach, but if we want to improve our teaching, we have to do reflections, right? So we identify what went wrong, what went right, and we identify what we need to work on for the next lesson. That way, we become a better teacher, right? Same for students, right? With those reflections, debriefing, they become smarter. They become a better player. And this is a video I'm going to show you, and the research actually, Dr. Fatih did here. And you understand, I don't understand. So you see the diagram? That's the situation.
Neler söylemiştik ya? Pas alan bir defans olmuş. Neye dikkat edecek? Evet, rakip kendisine doğru gelecek, tabii zamanlamasına dikkat edecek. Sonra nereye doğru? İleriye yani nereye doğru koşması lazım?
Günün nasıl geçerse geçsin de.
Kolay olmuyor bu işler.